All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV. Jared in the house, the good-looking producer. How are you, sir?
Doing good.
What's
Glad
new?
I'm back.
Where you been? What are you doing?
I was in Florida for a little bit, then just tying up some loose ends, and now I'm back.
Where were you in Florida?
Orlando for
Nice.
business.
What'd you do there?
So it was a business conference for my company, and then we went to Disney World one day, and then UFC, UCF football game, and then we shot some guns.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you go out drinking? Did you have a good time doing that?
No, I did not. I was with my boss and my other boss.
Wow, look at you hanging out with the bosses, dude. Look at you rolling in. Remember, don't forget your focus. Remember you said that you want to be your own entrepreneur thing, right? You don't want to be working for the man.
Absolutely.
You might get sucked in.
No, I'm still focused.
All right, good.
Locked in.
Well, joining us tonight is our good friends, two of the family members of the Monte and the family. We've got Phil. Phil, as always, how are you, sir?
Top of the evening, sir. Good to be here.
Always good to see you. Phil, can you share with everybody your radio station that you work out of so people can catch you on terrestrial radio?
Yeah. If they are near a radio or near a computer, more likely a computer unless they're up here in central north Massachusetts, 105.3 FM. You can stream it if you just Google 105.3 FM Listen Live, and it'll direct you to it. The Friday Fitness feature with Phil is going to be tomorrow, roughly around 8:30 to 9. And very soon I'll be doing the whole Friday morning show as well. So you can check it out, listen to the archives. Anyone interested in fitness or anything else, just tune in, check it out.
Is the show completely about fitness?
It is, but just like with this show, and we will stray into other topics. We try to keep it fun, try to keep it funny, informative, and open to comments, suggestions, and it goes in different directions. So check it out.
Now, Phil, you're in great shape. How did you start becoming a bodybuilder or working out with weights and all that?
It's funny, you mentioned one of the greatest WWF champions who was looked over recently, Bob Backlund. So he really started the fitness thing, and he got me inspired. I had one of those little exercise wheels. Do you remember he used to do the Harvard step test and then that little roller wheel? So he got me doing that, and it just, I think, progressed from there. But I can definitely credit pro wrestling for launching that too,
What was it? Was it that here you are, some kid watching TV, and then you see these bigger than life guys, and you're like, man, I want to be like that?
Yeah, because you're exactly right. They're larger than life, and even when I was 11, 12 years old, I pretty much put in my mind, I know how tall I'm going to be and how much I want to weigh, and sure enough, I hit those marks. Just and just like with working out, with fitness and having goals, it's keeping it in mind. Just have that image in your mind and work towards it. Keep that image there, and then eventually reality kind of conforms to your thoughts, intentions, to that sort of thing. So, yeah, when I was a kid, I was very skinny. In fact, so skinny that I didn't want to wear T-shirts. I wore those. Remember those wristbands, athletic wristbands, like baseball players wear?
Right.
They were fashionable to wear once upon a time, and I used to wear them basically up my forearms to because the arms were like spaghetti. So, that was an incentive too. So now in the winter, I'm running around in shorts and T-shirt all the time. I'm no longer covering up, but. Yeah, I could definitely credit Bob Backlund. Tony Atlas, certainly, who's going to be on this weekend. Yeah. Major force, major inspiration, and still is to this day. He looks incredible, unbelievable.
Well, I want to bring in Dan and Benny's co-host, Benny Scala, to join this conversation. Welcome, Benny. How are you?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you. And if anyone is wondering, with her conspicuous absence, my co-host, Miss Daniela Petro, she had an issue at home, and she called me last minute, and she goes, would you be upset with me if I just didn't do the show tonight? And deep inside, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to be pissed off, but I'm going to give you a pass, right?
Yeah.
Considering that she's so dedicated to the show, she's flying in tomorrow to be here in New
Cool.
York for the big event, which you'll be at, Phil, and you'll be
Yeah.
in studio on Saturday doing one of the interviews. And, she's all in with the show, and I got to give her a ton of credit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now she's turned out. What a blessing, really. She's become. Um, she brings something different, I think, to the show. A female perspective. Granted, a casual fan, but still an intimate fan, you could say, in a way, given her previous association with the business, and having some of that insight too, I think, is great. And again, she brings something special. There's a vulnerability there. There's an honesty there with Daniela. I want to call her Danny, just like my old friend Dan. There seem to be a lot of Dans in this business, and it's a wonderful name too. But yeah, she brings something special. She makes us laugh. I think she has a great ability to connect to guests, certainly to all our family who are writing us each week and chatting with us, all our chatters. So I think she's left a great impression with them, and she's endeared herself already in just in a few weeks. So happy to have her on board for sure.
The credit
Absolutely.
I want to give her to, right, is everybody knows what a talent Jimmy is, or right?
Oh,
I was going to
love
say
the Pharaoh.
was, but I mean he's still with us, so he
and
is.
will be.
And for her to come into that role and to get accepted by the M&P family and then the Outlookers at first, it did not take long, which didn't surprise me, but I think may have surprised other people. Benny, we were talking about love of wrestling and then how it changed your life. You also work out. Was that due to pro wrestling?
Well, not really. I mean, I kind of like Phil, grew up very, very thin. I played baseball. I mean, in fact, I did a baseball podcast today and was rating my 10 favorite baseball movies of all time, and one of them I think was number 3 was The Sandlot, and that was my life. I mean, from the beginning of the 8 o'clock in the morning, I'd knock on my neighbor's door where I had my bat, my ball, and my glove. Went to the park, played till about noon, 1 o'clock, went home for lunch, and then you played till till it was too dark to play anymore. And I couldn't gain a pound if I tried, no matter what I ate. Then one day in my early 30s, I woke up and it's like, holy crap, I have a gut. And, I hadn't changed my eating habits. My metabolism slowed down. And I just, I joined a gym, which I had never done before. I'd never really needed to. But when I joined the gym, they actually assigned, and this is in 1988, they assigned personal trainers to you. And, he took me through the machines, and I was looking over at the free weights. And I said, what are those guys doing? I want to do that. He goes, you sure you want to? I said, yeah, I want to do that. And he goes, you might be sorry. And he wasn't shitting me because, I remember the first time that I did a squat, and I literally had 25 pounds on each end, which is, a total of 95 pounds. And I literally woke up in the middle of the night with tears in my eyes. That's how bad it hurt. But, I started losing weight. I started seeing the muscle, and it's very addictive. When you start seeing those gains, man, you're hooked. And I just kept going and going. I mean, bottom line, I got to where I squatted 500 pounds.
Wow.
Which is
You're
like
mad, man.
having a refrigerator.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm 68. I guarantee you I'm in better shape than probably 99% of the guys my age, and maybe even 60-70% of the guys half my age. It's a choice. I chose when I was 33 to start doing that bodybuilding lifestyle, and to go along with it, I started eating smart. Do I occasionally cheat? Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? But I mean, 95% of the time I eat sensibly. I don't do any drugs. I mean, I like my wine once in a while, but yeah, I mean, I've invested in that lifestyle, and now it's paying dividends.
Can I ask either one of you, and you don't have to answer, but did any one of you get any assistance via the gas or anything else?
No,
Never.
No,
Never.
No, and it's funny because I saw one of the guys in the locker room who obviously was juicing, and he asked me if I wanted any. I said no. I was at the time 33, married. I had 2 young kids. I was an assistant vice president at Citicorp. It's like I knew what my job was to provide for my family. I mean, did I want to look great? Hell yeah, but I wasn't going to jeopardize any. The whole idea of me getting into that lifestyle to begin with was to improve my health. So why would I risk my health when I was trying to improve it? So no, they were out there. And it was pretty readily available.
Here's the one thing I don't understand though, because like watching professional wrestling, I'm very surprised when I see fans that love wrestling, older fans. What I mean is, late 20s, 30s, and beyond. But they look like they never picked up a weight. And I would think to myself, like, if you're a wrestling fan, like, to me, too, same thing. Growing up, you saw Morocco. I was like, dude, I want to speak like them. I want to look like them. I'm going to do everything I can to be them,
Absolutely.
Are you guys in the same shock that when you see a wrestling fan and they just look like some skinny whatever? Does it not match?
Yeah, there is
I'd
definitely.
No. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Phil. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say quickly. There seems to be a disconnect there. Yeah, it's like, why are you watching? I guess the question is, how are you not inspired by these guys and the looks? Why would you not want to aspire to be like this? You talk about incentive and inspiration and just the potential that lies within us all. I think most of us operate at 40% of physical capacity. I think we could do so much more. I think many people are just afraid to tap into that strength, and we all have it. It's just a matter of tapping into it. So,
Phil, how old are you right now?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, Monty, I've done a little acting in my life. And my casting director has told me to always state a range between 40 and 50 are the roles that I would accept.
That's fair. That is
on
fair.
the north end of that anyway. But,
so I guess my question, we know Benny's age already.
He's
my
great.
Age. I've told you guys my age.
Yeah. I'm only like 4 or 5 years younger than you, Monty.
Okay, you're getting to that, like you were just talking about the capabilities, so if I could share anything, and I want to do a roll call for the family out there that's joining us today, but, back in my heyday, dude, I bench pressed 546 pounds, right?
Holy moly.
I was that strong. But I literally now, at my age at 56, if I could do 200 pounds, I won't do it. And you were talking about the power of the body. I'm at 56, don't have the strength or the energy. So I'm asking you, like, is it because of your diet, or what's that about? And joining us is ESO Bruce. How are you, Bruce?
Bruce.
What's going on, guys? How's everything?
Good.
I think, and again, being a natty, as JA loves, we use that term natty, JA who chats with us each week, and Benny too being natural. I think the act of just lifting heavy weights without any extra ergogenic aids, we'll call them, helps bolster the testosterone and keeps the testosterone at higher levels for much longer, okay? Now, I didn't turn the tables to you, Mike, and ask you the question about visiting the gas stations, and I won't even ask you that directly.
You can ask, and I'll answer. I'll be fair. I was in the military in Germany.
Yep.
I was a
we
big
thank you for your
weightlifter.
service too, Veterans Day.
I started hanging, this is my first 2 years, I started hanging out with, if anyone knows about the German Polizei, they're massive, massive men. And in Europe at that point, this is before steroids were illegal, you could walk into any pharmacy, not a pharmacy actually, any store, and pick up horse steroids, right? It was that simple. And these dudes were hitting this like crazy. I decided I wanted to keep up. I was in the military, so I definitely enhanced myself for about a year until one of the Polizei guys, and I'm not saying it's because of it, but ended up getting a tumor on the side of his, just grew out of nowhere, out of his side. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me. So did Did I partake? Absolutely. Did I partake for
Yeah.
a long time? No.
No.
So I would say athletically, I was always a strong athlete, but I did enhance. And at 56 now, I am on testosterone therapy, which my testosterone was under 100 a year ago. It just dropped. The therapies got me up to 500. And,
Wow.
obviously with my heart surgeries and everything else, I got to
Yeah.
be careful.
Sure.
But, yeah, for me, at my age, it's almost like a life-saving drug. It just like the first time I injected myself, I felt like I was 19 again. Not strong 19, just mentally 19.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to do a quick roll call. We got Lucky Dog in the house, the first lady in the house. We love you, Miss Maria Davis, one of the most
We love
beautiful
Maria.
women I've ever laid my eyes on.
Absolutely.
Jay
love the
Will,
first lady.
Jason, how are you? RJ Hudson, love you, brother. Going down, going ESO. We know you're here. Beth Harper, good to see you. I know
Beth
you're a big
Harper's the
fan
number
of the
one
player.
playmate.
Davio, what's up, baby? Good to see you.
Fabio.
Jason Kessler, what's up, bud? Look, he says George Lynch, the guitar player for Dokken, who took steroids in his life. Steroids took a bigger toll on him than drugs and booze. Could be, if you abuse them enough, right? Roy Batiste, how are you? I'm 53 and I'm out of shape. Well, Roy joined the club, so am I. Here's my question to you guys. You guys go to the gym. As I get older, I become very judgmental in a lot of different ways. I don't know what's happened to me. I was at the gym. I was on the elliptical the other day. And across from me is this young woman. She's wearing shorts, a shirt, no big deal. But my eyes are wandering, not in the way you're thinking, right? It's just that I'm just become more
Scanning.
key and scanning and like entertaining myself, just looking around, right?
Browsing.
Browsing,
People watching.
but not browsing
window
that
shopping.
way.
Right.
Unfortunately for this young lady, I had never seen so much hair on a woman's legs before in my life.
Ooh.
And I could not focus. So could I ask
Wow.
all three of you, am I shallow?
Not at all.
If you're
No,
if
not
you're
at
shallow,
all. No.
so am I. I mean,
Listen, we've grown accustomed to something, and we found it very, very attractive as men. And no, I'm sorry, I don't find hairy legs any bit attractive.
No, you're not shallow.
why would you go to the gym? I mean, you go to the gym to improve your appearance. So why would you put all that time in the gym and then omit something like that, which is just basic?
But I think in today's society, people are whatever. You're a man, you're a woman, you're a beast. Maybe people think hair is okay. And nothing, I'm
in
against
Vermont
it.
they do.
Each their own.
What's that, Phil?
I said in Vermont they do. You've never been to Vermont. Otherwise you wouldn't be freaked out by that.
Really?
Yeah.
Expand our knowledge, please.
Or France.
It's not only Sasquatch roaming the forests up there. It's 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 part of some of the culture. It's just these. Nice. Something similar to that, perhaps. Yeah.
Are the three of you not a fan of the hair?
What did Maven? What does
Not a
Maven
fan.
say? Retro Bush is out. Retro Bush is out. So yeah, I'm not.
Listen, in my day and age, I didn't grow up in the 70s and the 80s, so in my day and age, it's always been trimmed and nice and hairless, or the nice runway, something that's somewhat acceptable.
Well,
Maven's going to sue you for plagiarizing his gig there.
we've got four men
a
here.
well-manicured landing strip.
Do you think women in general find hair nasty?
Yes.
I think
Yeah,
most
I
of
had an ex-girlfriend that was a hairstylist, and yeah, she said hair retains all the smells, and so absolutely, a lot of the women. I guess it depends on the woman too, or what identifies as that woman. So, but that's a whole other circumstance.
I wonder how Dutch Mantel's wife feels right now.
I wonder if she gets her fingers caught in that back hair and gets stuck.
Oh, Come on, that's just too much. Guys,
I have a great
invasive
imagination. I don't
lizards
wanna
the
think about
size of
that.
dogs roaming South Carolina. Here's where and whenever they're dangerous. Imagine this. You're out walking around somewhere in South Carolina woods and you see a lizard the size of a dog. Uh-oh. Nope. You might mutter as you back away from the oversized creature with distinctive black and white pattern as someone used to dress it up. Chances are it was once somebody's pet. The Argentina black and white tegu, I guess I pronounced that right, once a darling of the pet trade, is now banned in South Carolina as it's in Georgia and Florida, where it was first seen in the wild in the United States a decade ago. Crazy about the lizards? What are you thinking?
Listen, I've got actually a lot of firsthand knowledge on this. My family grew up in the pet industry. As I was a kid, my family owned some of the larger pet stores in the area. I've sold hundreds of these guys, and they do get pretty big. And honestly, if you're not that right person, you really shouldn't have an animal like this. I look back in time, and I mean, I sold everything from rock pythons and anacondas, so many poisonous things that I look back on. I'm like, wow, you wonder what ended up happening to them. But this is a real issue. You've seen what's happened with the Everglades, with all the pythons that have been unleashed. What ends up happening is you end up changing the ecosystem. This is a major issue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
I was just going to say, during
what's
COVID,
the intrigue with a 5 foot long lizard? I mean, what value? I mean, I have this cute little pooch here named Bree, my little 15-pound Jack Russell, and she's absolutely adorable. She follows me everywhere. She is always glad to see me. I mean, is a lizard glad to see you when you get home? Is a lizard wagging its lizard tail when you get? I mean, what?
Yeah.
I work for Pasco County government down here, and the shelter in Land O'Lakes was full of pit bulls because everybody, I want to get a pit bull, and then after they got the pit bull, they decided, I don't want a pit bull. So what do? They dropped it off the shelter. Now the shelter is full with pit bulls,
and that's what's happening in
people
Florida.
Are responsible pet owners, and it sounds like the same thing there. That they're getting these iguanas or whatever the hell they are, and they're cute when they're 6 inches long, but when they're 4 feet long, and they start eating your chopped meat out of the fridge, well, now you gotta get rid of it, right?
What I would say is it comes down to real pet ownership. I know people who have things that you wouldn't believe, and they're cared for properly, and there's no issue. However, it's that irresponsible person that gets into the pet industry. Oh, they see this animal, they want it. Then they don't properly take care of it, or they don't have the money to properly take care of it, and then you see what ends up happening. I don't want to see people more and more censored on what they can have, because a lot of people, they like a little, a fish tank or a lizard tank or something like that. Some people can't have a cat or a dog or other things, and this is how they get that pet experience. You'd be amazed. I actually used to have to send my dog trainers to a seminar about training betta fish, how to swim through a hoop. So even the most simple animal can be taught some tricks and can interact with a human being. So that's kind of where it comes from. So I don't want to take the pet ownership away from the person, but I want to emphasize responsible pet ownership.
But you seem you disagreed with Benny's comments.
Bruce, to train the people that go through 7-Eleven?
You seem to disagree with Benny's comments. So are you telling me that the lizards are happy when you come home?
Well, go and look up a bearded dragon. A bearded dragon is a very, very common household pet, and yeah, honestly, it doesn't seem to enjoy human companionship. It's actually been the second animal ever to be proven to have some type of REM sleep behind a human being. So,
neat.
All right, guys. On Saturday, we've got Tony Atlas at the big event at our table, and Sonny Beach from
awesome
former WWE wrestler, UWF under what's that guy's name? Someone help me.
Herb Abrams.
Herb Abrams, thank you. He'll be at the table.
There he is.
Then Friday, Daniela will be here. We'll be interviewing Atlas, and then Saturday she'll be at our table, promoting Monte and the Pharaoh. And then later on that evening, we interview Magnum TA, I think about 5 o'clock, and then Nasty Boys around 6, and then the Orient Express around 7. You guys will be joining me, minus Benny, so I'm looking forward to that. Little bit of controversy coming into the big event. I'm expecting to get a little heat. First of all, one of the wrestlers threatened me physically this week on Busted Open Radio. Said if he sees me personally, he's going to slap me.
You're a horrible person.
I'm a horrible person.
You are.
I'm a bottom feeder.
But a great guest.
Thank you.
Yeah, a phenomenal interview, man.
Also, we have the guy from Vegas who claims that he'll be sending his group of guys to make me sign some kind of contract for a boxing match. So who knows if that's going to happen. But then most recently, again, for people that may not understand, and I know you guys do, when we go to these events, and by the way, Phil, when Dan Marotti was still with us and he ran those events, did he have vendors or was it just him?
It was usually it was just him, I think, for the most part anyway. Yeah, it was all self-contained.
So that was like the old school mentality. That one promoter would bring in a bunch of guys and that's it.
Yep.
But eventually it went out to like each vendor would bring their own guys, which would build this entire thing. And the guy running the event charges them for the tables. And then usually the guy running the event will pay for one really big star to be there. The big event is grown to a point where they're bringing, like, I don't even know how much money they're spending, right? They got the 86 Mets there, Rhea Ripley, Mandy Rose, the Bella Twins. I mean, it's...
Dennis Rodman.
I mean, the list is huge. Yeah. But, like I said, each promoter... So, recently, as much as yesterday... there was a legal notice, and I'm going to read this to you guys, sent out by Independent Wrestling Federation, called the Goddesses of Wrestling. Again, I don't know how true it is. I'm just going to read it. This guy is going to be a vendor on Saturday, and I wanted you guys to weigh in on it. Hello, Goddesses Universe. I am William Fetsky, owner of the Goddess of War Wrestling Entertainment, LLC. I am the sole owner and operator and promoter of this New Jersey legal business. Kevin Nastor, this is the vendor in question, is not a promoter of this brand. He is subcontracted and appointed as a booker and a story writer for the Goddesses brand for me. I am making only one statement about recent allegations against Kevin Nastor and was advised by my attorney to do so. So by me reading this, I am not claiming that I know anything about any wrongdoings. I'm not claiming anybody has any wrongdoings. I'm reading this statement from this organization that he put out publicly. So this is a disclaimer. If you ever want to throw up disclaimer on there for me, Jared, that'd be great. I am not claiming anything. I'm sharing with my co-host the statement, and I'm going to ask them to weigh in. So I was advised by my attorney to do so. Yes, I do have an attorney to protect my business and myself at all times. We take allegations like sexual misconduct and sexual predator allegations set against Kevin Nastor very seriously and take actions accordingly by New Jersey state law. Our number one priority, hang in there, guys. Hold on. Is the safety of everyone involved, from female talent to the wrestling fans and their family. At this time, the Goddess of War Wrestling Entertainment, LLC, has parted ways with Kevin Nastor. We have severed ties with his business, Damage 365. I am pushing for criminal investigation by law enforcement. Yada, 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 yada. If Kevin Nasta is guilty of these accusations, I support prosecution to the fullest and extent of law and will cooperate with law enforcement whatever they need to assist on. And basically he says, thank you. Another agent sent me a message, being that we are the #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Hey, bro. Due to these allegations, and this is from Richie Sorrentino for Sorrentino Promotions, currently going around with his talent and staff, right? So the allegations is by the talent, meaning the wrestlers that Damage 365 brings in. Does anyone know who's on that roster? Well, I will tell you. Thunder Rosa. I don't know. Anyway, I could look it up. Due to the allegations current going around his talent and staff, there may be avoid feeling uncomfortable. I feel that the big event should withdraw him from the event on Saturday. So here's my thought. Here's my question, guys. Being that there's allegations out there, not proven at this point, they seem to have some solid information now. Should the big event be knocking this agent out and keeping him off this show?
Yes. If it's just allegation, if it's unsubstantiated, no. But it seems to be pretty substantiated, so yes. And let's face it, those wrestlers choose who's representing them at these events. There's a lot of options for who to represent them.
Benny?
Yeah, I mean, and it's some funny things. I typed in on my Facebook on my phone, Kevin Nasta. I guess today's his birthday, so not so happy birthday to the guy. But until the shroud of controversy, is gone, you can't have the guy there. No, they absolutely have to keep him out of that show until, nobody's alleging anything about any of us. These allegations, I'm sure, not that they're all true, but there's got to be something there. And if it's proven false, then we apologize to the guy, and I'll be on the next one. But I would say keep the guy off the show.
Phil?
Yeah, it's tough because, again, these are allegations, and it's quite easy to do. And, in this day and age and the Me Too movement and everything else, we have to be as careful as possible, I guess, Unless you're a politician in some high office, you're sadly going to be you're going to be almost considered guilty, at least when it comes to the safety of those surrounding you. So, I mean, it's a public event. There are going to be people everywhere, cameras, capturing everything. So I don't know what this person could do in this situation anyway. But yeah, sadly, I think for the overall liability, if these people know it already, if the people in charge of this event are aware of this, then sadly the onus is on them to send these people away. So it's a sad situation, no matter how you look at it.
So I'm just looking at the big event page, and I'm looking at vendor guest. From what I understand, this said promoter usually only works with women talent. Guys, weigh in on this. You're a woman talent. Obviously, you're going to hear the allegations. By the way, he has a person by the name of Courtney Rush and Izzy Marino. Do you guys know these people?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know them.
So Courtney Rush and Izzy Marino. Can you pull that up at the big event there? They're females, obviously. They're going to hear about these allegations. Do you think as a female you should back out? Just, again, not saying these are true allegations, but should you back out Number one, just in support that you don't support this kind of activity, or number two, for the safety of yourself.
Now I go back to what I said. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of promoters there. How many promoters are at this event, Mike?
It's got to be like 20, 30, something like that. By the way, Trish Stratus is there too. I mean, the lineup is insane.
Wow.
But go ahead, Bruce.
No, I mean there's plenty of other opportunities for people to get to find a table to sit at to sell autographs. There are lots of options, or you can go like the Honky Tonk Man, away and buy your own table.
It's true. Benny?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to play it safe. This is your career, and like I said, are allegations flung around? Yes, but you got to take them seriously, because on the odd chance that they're true, and I thought I heard you say something about pedophilia, unless I misheard. I mean, that's something that that's got to be investigated before, and
Not,
like I said,
not to defend Kevin Nasta, because I don't know him personally. In this agent thing, it's almost like blood in the water sharks, right? If you get something on someone, you hear something, everybody jumps on it, because if you could eliminate that competition, that's more money in your pocket, right? We talked about being worked by wrestlers. The agents will work the hell out of you too, right? So there's blood in the water, and they're going after this guy now. They're all going after him. I see all the posts. So, I mean, that could be part of the problem too, right? There could be, maybe no misconduct, but if you push the agenda hard enough, you can make something happen. Not saying that's the case either.
What do you got to wish?
Hey, Mike, I got one for you. I sent you a video this week of me and Benny. Doing stuff that was absolutely, totally out of our realm. And what was it created by? AI. And how crazy was it?
That's true. Yeah.
It'd be really cool, Mike, though, if Chris Hansen shows up at that show and says to Kevin Nasta, "Why don't you have a seat?" How old was Alicia? She said she was 14 and 18.
At the kitchen island.
Yeah, I have the chat log. You said you were going to bleep.
Well, let me put it this way. And Bruce brings up a good point. AI, God knows what you can do with that stuff. So
They said by early next year, it's going to be indistinguishable. And, I mean, even that video that I sent you, I mean, my stepmother, who's been around me my whole life, was laughing her ass off at me speaking Spanish.
It's crazy. And just think, the four of us on this video now, if you have that power of AI, you can make us be doing anything. We could be doing anything right now on video. Scary times. Well, anyway, when you guys are there, Phil and Bruce, you'll get to meet Kevin Nasta, because I'm assuming he's still going to be there. You could go up there. Will you be shaking his hand?
I'll wear a glove.
Yeah, well,
Very good.
Latex glove.
I would like to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monte The Pharaoh. Owen Jimmy Farrell, along with his partner Bark Rings, make up the band Wisteria Hall. Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. You can find their music on the Wisteria Hall YouTube page. Hit like and subscribe. Spotify, Apple Music, and Reverb Nation. If you didn't know it, you are watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh. Catch us on the Monte The Pharaoh YouTube page, Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, and Twitch TV. If you're lucky enough to live in New York, catch us on Channel 115 every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. or Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Channel 20 Tuesday at 7 p.m. We're also on something called the Intuitive Network. That is a new free app. Download it, get videos, comedy, whatever. It's IN2ITIVE Network. We'll be right back with my co-host, where we went 47 minutes of non-wrestling talk, which is amazing in itself.
Nice.
We'll be back after this commercial break with these three wonderful hosts: Bruce from ESO, Phil DeCesare from Boston, and Benny from Dan and Benny in the Ring. We'll be back in a moment. right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. All right, guys, subject of the day. The worst couples in professional wrestling. Feel free to disagree with this list. You may think they're a wonderful couple. So at number 10, Booker T and Sharmell. WWE using real-life couple of Booker T and Sharmell on screen saw them each benefiting in their career. Booker winning King of the Ring and being renamed King Booker saw Queen Sharmell at his side. What do you think of this couple, gent?
Well, I love Booker, definitely. And Sharmell definitely got the rub from him. The King and Queen thing kind of ran its course with me, though. So I don't know. I'm pretty lukewarm with them, I'd say. Anyway,
I
what do you
can tell
guys
you
think?
this was my point of not watching WWE. This is when it was really starting to get geared towards that total PG era. There was nothing exciting happening. It wasn't fun. It wasn't exciting. I, at this point, took a break from wrestling. I couldn't stand that angle. So sorry. Queen Sharmell has no business being a Hall of Famer. Booker T does. Booker T was amazing.
Yeah.
Sharmell has no business being in the industry. Period. Is that the dancer in the backup dancer for what in WCW when they had that thing?
Nitro Girls.
Otherwise, no. Sorry. Yeah, Nitro Girls. That was it. But no, otherwise, no, period, no. She had no business being there, and she has no business being a Hall of Famer.
Benny?
How do you have a Sharmell as a Hall of Famer when you don't have Ivan Koloff? Somebody try to explain that to me. But
I'll explain it. I'll fight this one to the end of the day. Not particularly with Sharmell, but I had this argument with Jimmy. Stacy Keibler, I'm sorry, meant more to wrestling than Ivan Koloff. I hate to say it. She brought more attention to wrestling than Ivan Koloff ever would. Feel free to argue with me, guys.
Only because of the day. Could you if Ivan Koloff, Bruno Sammartino would have had the ability to be promoted like it would be today? No, absolutely not.
I mean, come on.
It's Stacy Keibler.
Ivan Koloff scored the most significant victory in the history of professional wrestling. He pinned Bruno Sammartino in the middle of the ring after an almost 8-year title reign. Everybody remembers that. Bruno said that he thought he had hearing damage because the Garden was so silent, and it was because people were just absolutely stunned, followed by many, many thousands of people sobbing because their hero, their idol, had lost the championship. That's how much it meant to these people. How can you compare that to a long pair of legs? Really? I mean, if we're going to compare wrestling
I like the legs,
and ass, great legs. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, Ivan Koloff, come on, that's a sin. But Booker T, Harlem Heat, absolutely one of my favorites. King Booker and Sharmell, hell no.
Phil, what about my comments? Keibler or Koloff?
Well, George Clooney did have a man crush on Ivan Koloff at one point, so I can see where they'd be on equal footing.
Very good.
But and I do think if Stacy did the knee drop on Bruno, that he'd kick out. So she would have changed the course of wrestling there too. So
I understand what Koloff means to wrestling, but to shit on Keibler being in the Hall of Fame to me is a mistake. She brought lots of attention to pro wrestling, much more than Ivan Koloff did.
Nobody's shitting on her being in. The problem is the exclusion, is Koloff not being in.
So
nobody's begrudging her being in. It's ridiculous that somebody of that stature is not included in the Hall of Fame.
Well, do you think that it should be forgiven that Ivan Koloff held up Vince McMahon Sr. for money? Sooner or later you have to pay for your sins, right?
Jeff
Yeah.
Jarrett
I mean,
did
how
some.
many of these guys
But-
did stuff? I mean, look, Warrior held up McMahon Jr. for tons of money, probably a lot more than Koloff held Senior up. But Warrior made the Hall of Fame, so it's it's too
But I
subjective.
think
I
with
heard
Junior,
that Koloff
Junior,
held-
go ahead, Phil. Sorry, Phil.
No, that's all right. I had heard that Koloff held up Vince Sr. Get this. This is 1971, mind you, but for $80,000. Okay, for
Him
that match.
and
Koloff was-
Superstar Graham. Him and Graham.
Yeah, and Koloff supposedly put the cash in his boot before he went out there too. You know, those big boots. I don't know if he could fit 80,000 into a. He did have big boots, but you know.
I'd like to try.
But and I think that's the reason why he's not in right now.
And Benny brought up the Ultimate Warrior, right? He brought up the Ultimate Warrior. Junior decided to forgive Ultimate Warrior. It was a sin against himself. He decided to let it go. I think when it comes to your father, you don't know how that might have affected that family, how it might have affected Senior. And Junior might have said, you know what, I'm just not forgiving it.
I also think that Junior wanted to have very little to do with the men that built the company before he bought it. That's just my opinion.
How strong of a boss is Vince McMahon to be able to overlook how many times he got talked about or shunned by these wrestlers and still shook their hands and brought him back into the fold? I mean, that guy is
because
that guy
Bruce,
really is.
Bruce, money changes everything.
I mean, yeah, but you have to
Cindy
give him
Lauper
the
song.
Show
respect for that.
friends, it's
That's it.
show business.
What's that, Benny?
You got to give him the
I
respect.
said
for
it's
that.
not show friends, it's show business.
Right, and if you're going to
No,
make him money, he's going to forgive it. But I think what you said, Benny, he didn't want to. Was it you that said that he didn't want to work with the older senior guys?
I think that he preferred to put his focus on the stars that he created, because even now, like when they induct, like if they would induct a Spiros Arion now or one of those guys, they have that legacy thing, and it's like they throw him a little crumb. Whereas like
Because
more modern
unfortunately for the four of us and maybe some of the family out there, they're not playing to us anymore. So to bring in an Antonio Inoki, do you think the modern day wrestling fan really knows who Antonio Inoki is? So how are you bringing attention to your Hall of Fame and having people buy tickets and tuning in if you're just going to bring these older stars? No one knows who they are except us.
I'm guilty of being a purist at the expense of money, and you're absolutely right. You brought it back home. It's never the storyline. It's always the bottom line, and that's what really counts. These owners they don't give a shit about what we think or how we feel. They're there, and rightly so. I mean, even the Yankees, my beloved Yankees, they're not going to really make many changes, even though the Yankees suck this year, because the Yankees made a shitload of money. As long as the Yankees make a shitload of money every year, they have no incentive to change.
Look what happened when they went with George Costanza's suggestion for cotton uniforms.
Right. Exactly. There you go.
And Phil, you're aging yourself because I guarantee no one knows what they're talking about right now either.
I do.
It's okay.
All right, I'm going to pick some of the list because we're running a little long in the tooth right now. John Cena, Nikki Bella.
Ugh.
That was the worst off-screen couple. I saw more of their off-screen stuff through that Divas show that they had on E. I wasn't a big wrestling fan at that point. I was kind of, a little bit distance, and oh god, that was horrible. And then it went up to the engagement, and then the non-engagement, and whatever. No, done. At that point, they were everywhere. You were getting them shoved down your face. Can't stand them.
One of the worst matches I've ever seen, and this is all I want to say about it, one of the worst matches I've ever seen is Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella. And Ronda had to make Nikki look competitive, and it really turned me off. It was, because, here's anybody with an IQ more than a hard-boiled egg knows that Ronda Rousey can squash this girl in, 1/8 of a second, and here they're having this competitive match, and yeah, I just...
By the way, I was there live for that card, the all women's card at the Coliseum. That
Evolution.
Rousey Bella match was pretty damn good. I gotta be honest. I marked out at that.
It's a good shot right there.
It is. All right, next list. Who's up next? Lana and Rusev. Phil?
I liked him in WWE. The Rusev Day thing, and they had Aiden English for a while. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think I think he was underutilized. He got this huge push initially. Didn't he go over Cena at one point?
In the beginning,
He used to have a first name too back in the day, Alexander Rusev, if you recall.
Exactly, and he just slowly they phased him out. And I mean, he really hasn't done much in AEW, but in WWE, I enjoyed them. Yes,
She
I
brought
caught the
she
end
brought
of
a
their
sex
run.
appeal.
absolutely.
Good. I caught the end of their run in WWE. I didn't see the beginning. It was when I was coming back into wrestling. And I have to tell you, he seemed very dry. He seemed to have the wrong gimmick. They were not a great couple. They definitely deserve their place on the worst couples in wrestling.
Well, I like the fact that he had a real Russian accent or whatever it was, and she didn't. And it was very
No, I
apparent.
just think I caught him. I caught them at the wrong time. I think if I would have caught him earlier, I maybe would have appreciated him more. But at that point, he was already done.
all right, Tyson
ravishing,
Kidd
not Russian.
and Natalia.
Oh. They're still together.
They
And
are.
that says
Okay.
says a lot too. And and she saw him through his broken neck, which I guess, I mean, that injury could have been fatal. I mean, it almost should have been, from what I've seen and what I've heard from him. He should have basically died on the spot there, but again, due to his conditioning, his thickly muscled neck, he not only that, he is fully mobile and no paralysis, nothing whatsoever, and smartly he's staying away from ever competing again. But it just seems like a perfect wrestling couple with a great wrestling pedigree with them both. And
Phil, do you think
I think
Natalia
he'd be
is getting better looking as she gets
oh,
older?
she's awesome. I think not only is a talent in the ring, as a performer, as everything. She ages well, and she's definitely very underrated, I'd say.
All right, next up, Naomi and Jimmy Uso. Bruce?
I actually don't really have an issue with this one. And you have to kind of respect that at this point. Yeah, Naomi's had their issues. Jimmy hasn't. Naomi's had her issues with WWE, but it hasn't affected Jimmy's career because, if anything, when she walked out on WWE was the point of where he's gotten his biggest push into the bloodline. Don't necessarily consider them. I don't think they would be great on screen together, but they are what they are.
And by the way, she's at the big event this Saturday, too. I feel the WWE is missing the boat. If they could bring her back and have her join the bloodline,
Absolutely.
could
You're
be
100% right.
really good to the storyline. One thing I did want to bring up, in Tota Bellas, it seemed like Rikishi had a problem with Jay marrying Naomi, if you remember that.
Didn't know that. What was his
yeah.
grievance?
I think his grievance is that she wasn't of the same ethnicity
Oh,
as his
yeah.
son. I mean, they don't come out and say it, but you could tell he wasn't happy.
Wanted
Yeah, the bottom
Polynesian.
line, as long as they're happy, that's all
Yeah.
that really counts.
No, absolutely. But I'm just, I thought it was, again, when it comes to these shows, you don't know if it's made up. They tell you to do something. Who the hell knows? Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch.
Well, who wears the pants
Overrated.
in that family?
Okay, they take their fashion cues from Lady Gaga.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. Like, I don't get them. I think Seth Rollins is overrated. He's a great performer, whatever. And I'm amazed at the pop he gets. Becky Lynch, same thing. She's the man, whatever. I may not be a big fan of them, but for some reason they have something with these fans that brings them to that next level. I don't get it.
To me, they seem like they're a happy couple. I don't know why. They just give me that feeling.
I think they're weird.
Oh, thank you, Bruce. Good comment. All right, next up, Edge and Beth Phoenix.
Great couple. By all accounts, very normal couple. They have kids. They seem like very, very happy together. I mean, how could anybody find fault with these two?
No problem. Just retire.
Yeah, that part, yes. I mean, yeah, retire, though.
Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella.
Oof.
I like that.
I think we settled.
I have that same feeling. Something's wrong when a
She
guy
settled.
doesn't watch TV. I mean, I don't know how you can live your life without TV.
He doesn't.
No.
Wow.
He's
And he
Mr.
eats, and he
Natural.
eats vegan cupcakes. There's something wrong with you. If you're going to eat a cupcake, I mean, go full board.
And you know Brie really doesn't want to live that lifestyle. I don't even understand why. You know, one of the great scenes is when Cena, again, we're talking about total Bellas again, but when Cena goes to that house and he can't believe they live in that house. He's like, get me back to my mansion.
Right. In my 83 cars.
Exactly. Yeah. Very funny. All right, here's my power couple, Miz and Maurice.
Great couple.
Yeah.
What can you say bad about them? They you know.
All right, well, let me.
Never heard bad word about them.
I'm going to run a question to you guys, right? And I understand that it's an age of social media. Maurice, beautiful woman, right? I don't think anyone's going to argue that, right? Miz is lucky to have her. But as a man, when you marry someone and there's a video out there of her 69ing some guy, it's like, how do
Whoa.
you get over that?
That's tough.
I did not know that.
Phil, you learn it. Look at this. You learn it. Phil's going to be looking it up the minute we get off the show.
I'm going to have to take a break.
All right,
Yeah.
Mike, can you send me the link?
I was going to say, send us all the link after the show.
Is he a wrestler?
I have no idea. You don't see that part of him.
If they reverse it, is it a 96?
The actual video is
It
her
was
meeting
Samoa
some
Joe.
guy in an airport, right? They hug. You don't really see the guy, and then it goes to the hotel room where obviously he set up a camera and set her up, right? But I'm just thinking to myself, like, how does a guy get over that? Like, first of all, she's gorgeous, so there could be jealousy there. Not that the Miz would be jealous, but you know, it's kind
It
of
isn't
rough.
AI,
having-
is it?
What's that?
It isn't AI. This came up before AI.
This is way before AI.
Okay. Can't use that excuse.
Wow, we're gonna blame AI on everything now.
But
Wow,
I know,
It's,
well-
it's
Exactly.
pre-Miz, though, right, Mike?
Started-
It is pre-Miz.
it is pre-Miz. Yes.
What are you going to do? I mean, everybody's, you know,
Pre-Miz is
you meet
jizz.
somebody that, you know, they have baggage. They have a history.
Well, but let me. Yeah, but it's like I understand his baggage, but like Paige, for example, right? It's like that's a lot
yeah.
of baggage
Exactly.
for a partner to take on. That video is rough.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
They
It's like they're
defiled the
passing
belt.
they're passing a hamburger around or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, let me ask you
Oh,
this,
yeah.
Phil. Would you date a
That
girl
Divas
that had a
Championship.
video out there like that? I'm putting Phil on the spot
Maybe.
tonight.
Hell yeah! For a couple of days, absolutely. Fuck yeah!
I'm going no. I'll take it.
But yeah, I might decline. I might decline.
That would be all that would be going through my head.
My public statement is I'll decline. My private statement might be something different.
There you go. All right, our final couple before we call it a night. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon.
The
Triple
king and the
H
princess.
Definitely married up.
What's that?
Triple
Bruce?
H definitely married up. He married smart.
I mean,
Great
they're
job,
married
man.
for 20-year marriage and 3 beautiful kids. What can you say?
Triple H, the richest wrestler ever.
I honestly think that Stephanie was brought up with really good morals, and I think same with Triple H. I think they're a good couple.
Absolutely.
If I had to guess, they're probably both A personalities, and I think there's probably a lot of arguing going on there for some reason. Just my guess.
Yeah.
Neither one of them would be what you would consider docile, so I would agree with you on that.
You know, in fact, I've heard that they were going to get divorced a few times. And again, everybody gets divorced. I get it. But
and everybody argues. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, if I had to judge of all those couples I named, obviously Cena and Nikki aren't together anymore. Of those couples, which one do you think gets along the best?
Ooh.
Booker and Sharmell.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Phil?
Yeah, maybe. They've been out of the spotlight for a while, probably more so. Yeah. Standing the test of time.
I'm gonna agree with you. I think it's a 4-way agreement here. I think that couple gets along. I think Booker T is a really good guy, and I think Sharmel's really got a class act.
Yep. I agree.
Not saying the others aren't. I just say if you had to judge which was the best couple to get along, that would be them. All right, guys. I want to thank you for joining the show. Let's talk about Saturday and Friday first. Tony Atlas in studio this Friday. Tony's been gone for quite a while. When's the last time Tony's been on the show? Over a year and a half ago, right?
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I think Marati was still with us at the time he was in studio.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, or it just passed. Yeah.
And then we have the big event starting at 10 o'clock on Saturday where Monte The Pharaoh will be represented there. I'm very excited. Phil will be coming down from Boston, ESO from upstate New York. And the show ends about 3. We'll be back in studio at 5, and around 4:35, Magnum TA will be in studio for a great interview. I'm looking forward to that. Then we'll have the Nasty Boys. And then I think Bruce and Phil are going to take over for the final leg, and they're going to be the ones to interview the Orient Express. Are you guys excited for that?
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
Will you guys be able to get along like Booker T and Sharmell?
I don't know about that. Depends if Phil pulls out that foreign object.
I really look forward to you guys coming down. Phil, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. Like I
back
said,
at you, man.
Danielle, dedicated to the show, she's coming. So it's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward to it. And let's not forget about Sunday. Sunday, I have cheerleader Melissa in the morning, and then Paul London. So we've got our plate full with a lot of people. Should be very, very exciting. If I had to ask you guys before we go, what question would you ask the Nasty Boys? Benny, you start.
That's a tough one.
Did you use any roll-on before you did Pity City?
I was going to say that. You're such a smart guy. Oh, my Lord. I was going to say that.
How about you, Bruce?
Great.
No, I would look to more of where they broke in, because somehow they broke in that like 85, 86 era in AWA, and what brought them into that Vern Gagne, Minnesota area versus some of the other areas out there?
I think they explained that the last time they were in studio.
Well, I didn't see that interview, though.
Of course you didn't. Damn, Bruce, you don't support us. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining us on Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow with the great Tony Atlas in studio. I wonder what I'm going to ask Tony. I think I might go Von Erich heavy since the claw is coming out. All right, guys. Thanks again for being on the show. I will see you on Saturday.
Awesome.
Send us out, Benny.
I'll be back next week to recapture my gold.
No, that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for this. Thank you for joining Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. We love you all. See you next week.
We'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.